Good morning. My name's Leighton. If we haven't met yet, nice to meet you. I'm one of the pastors and chaplains here at Haven Campus Church and CCAS. We are just a community of people that want to follow Jesus. Can I hear an amen? What else could we do? I mean, lots of things, but we've just chosen to be together and follow Jesus here. So if that's why you came this morning, you're in a good place. This is what we want to do too. Thanks, Ali. I'm in recovery from the Stormco trip. It was really good, don't get me wrong, but it did become influenza A/bronchitis adventure out west when 15 of our students came down with flu. I'm not sure who patient zero was, but I suspect one of the Heises. So, Zoe, I don't know where you are, but it wasn't just Zoe. It was, it was a lot of us. A lot of us got sick. But I said to the staff team when we cut the trip short one day, because it was just getting really bad. Like one of our staff members, she was the apothecist. Is that what it's called? The dispenser of drugs. And they were going out of the box faster than they were coming into the box. And yeah, at the point where we just decided, okay, that's it. That was enough. And we were worried, we were concerned this would be the story that would get told. And look at me, that is the story that I am telling. But trust me when I say to you that Stormco is usually a life-changing experience, like following Jesus, coming together and being the church, where everyone's welcome. Nobody's perfect, and anything's possible. So that's who we are, and I hope you feel welcome here at Haven Campus Church. We're going to explore some exciting sections of the Bible today, and if you would like to follow me on screen, you can, but if you'd like a Bible, Pastor Josh and his assistants, some young fellas by the looks of it, are going to pass some Bibles around. If you'd like one, just pop your hand up in the air, and we're going to turn to page 179, and we're going to start there together. And while they're doing that, just put your hand in the air. I'm just going to pray. Let's just bow our heads. Keep your hand in the air. They can hand them out. That's cool. We can pray and Bible at the same time. God, I want to thank you for this church, for this school, and for the impact it has in our lives and has had in my life. And I want to thank you that we have new friends and new community joining us every single week. And I pray that you make us strong in our humility about that, how every single one of us, we're just beggars at the foot of your table, the foot of the cross. God, make us bold and courageous to trust that you are enough. And then make us super courageous, Jesus, to just share that story in this community. And I pray that today as we read page 179, from the book of Joshua, you do that transformation of perspective for us all, including me. Pray that you just hide me today behind your cross, and may everyone see what you have done and who you are. Pray in your name. Amen. So my title of my sermon is called Crossover. And so as we begin a sermon called Crossover, we have to tell some why did the chicken cross the road jokes. It just has to be done. So that's what we're going to do. Let's kick on. Why did the chicken cross the road? You know the answer to this one, to get to the other side. But they get better. Why did the chicken cross the road? The playground. Come on, primary teachers, to get to the other slide. Let's go. Why did the chicken cross the road? The basketball court. Do you have it, son? Because it was a foul. Why did the chicken cross its socks? Because it got cold feet. Okay, that wasn't even funny, not even close to. So, but my favourite one, why did the chicken cross the road? Because. My personal favourite. Okay, so that was bad. Let's just move on. Shall we open the Bible? Page 179. Or you can read with me on the screen. And let's explore this idea, this image, this metaphor really. Today we're going to explore a picture, a mind picture coming out of the book of Joshua. And if you don't own your own Bible and you ask for one today, I just want you to know, take that Bible home. That's yours now. Because here at Haven Campus Church, we just want people to be in their word, to understand that God, like as we read the word, sometimes God's reading us. It just goes both ways. So let God into your life. Take that Bible home and enjoy tracking with God. Because it's his story and it can get into your veins and maybe even cause you to go back to church the next week. Who knows? So let's have a look at this Bible text. I'm just going to read again. My chest is dumb. So if I have to stop every now and then, I apologize. Alrighty. Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you, speaking to Joshua, and all these people, get ready to cross the river Jordan into the land I am about to give them, to the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon and from the great river, the Euphrates, all the Hittite country to the great sea on the west. Jesus to Joshua. This was the promise made to the older generation also, the generation of Moses. And if you're new to our community and you're not sure about what is that all about? Well, maybe you've seen Charlton Heston holding up the Ten Commandments in a movie at some point. So you know a little bit about Moses. But Moses, anytime the Bible references Moses, this is the foundational story for Jews. Their God who brought them out of a land of slavery, told them you're not brickmakers, told them you're going to be free and I have so much for you. Life is going to be sort of like wandering through the wilderness. It's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, but don't worry, I'll feed you. You won't even have to grow food. Food will fall from the sky, quite literally is what God did for them in the Old Testament. And don't worry if you can't see, because I will brighten dark places with my light. And then don't worry if you feel like you're cornered and trapped between mountains and the sea, because I will just make a way through the sea for you. This is the foundational story for the Jew. And then when Jesus turns up, it becomes the foundational story for the Christian, because Jesus is the light. He's the food that comes from heaven. He's the deliverance from a perception that we're just slaves on planet Earth and we're just doing what our taskmasters make us do. Jesus is liberation from that thought. Jesus is the way through the crossing of the Red Sea. When you feel trapped, just follow and trust Jesus. Cross over. So it does become the foundational story for the Christian as well. But this is Jesus talking to not to Moses and that generation, it's to the next generation. Why? Because the old generation is gone and they're dead, and Moses is dead. And they're dead with all the people who got, when the last time they got to the River Jordan, refused to cross over. Even though they'd stood by a body of water before and God had opened it up and they'd walked on dry land. Even though they knew God can do this kind of thing. Even though they knew. They stood by the River Jordan and refused. And said, we prefer the desert. And so the desert they got. It's grace when you think about it. God gives everyone what they want. Do you want the desert? You can have it. So here they stand, the second generation. Okay, so we're back again. I wanted to give you that context if you're not sure about the Moses story, so that as we stand there today on the River Jordan with this second generation, students, it's the young generation. These are the young people, the second set coming to the River Jordan. They come to the edge, and it's like God says to them, look, across the river is who I want you to be. It's the world I'm inviting you into. It's your identity. You are not the Moses generation. You're the Joshua generation. And it's like Jesus is calling them across, saying, I want you to come across. Trust me. Cross the river. Cross over. And another point for context we need to know is that the Semitic concept, the Jewish concept of land, is a really deep, deep, meaningful concept. Gan, Hebrew word, gan, land. And we know this is true because if you just turn the news on these days, you know the power and the deep feeling around land for the Jew today. Don't we understand that? Just nod your head if you're like, yeah, like, I watch the news. We understand. We understand the idea of land is so critically important, especially everything we know about the last 100 years of world history. But not just the last 100 years, thousands of years of God's people being challenged, God's people being, I'm going to say words like tortured. And I'm going to say controversial things like they've been a victim. And I could go down, if I wanted, right here, take the road to modern day politics and religion, and let's talk about, okay, but there's a flip side. Because when hurt people take action, maybe they hurt people, right? So we could go there, but we're not going to. But we are standing on the edge of the Jordan together, so I had to acknowledge the modern day story of that. To maybe have access into this story for us as followers of Jesus now, not as Jews, as followers of Jesus. It's like Jesus is saying, I want to invite you to cross over into who you really are. The other side of the river is not merely what I want you to do, it's who I want you to be. I'm calling you to be. You've come from a pretty bad situation. Yeah, your parents, it's like Jesus says to the second generation, your parents, they believed they were slaves. And Jesus had to do some work for 40 years to unpick their mind. No, you're not slaves. That's over. No, you don't have to work with the mud and the straw anymore. What we're going to build together is something else. It's not going to be pyramids or castles for Egyptian taskmasters. You're not a slave. I want you to come into a new mindset, not just a new land, a new way of being. I want you to cross over. So what did happen to the old generation? Do you remember the Uncle Arthur stories that look something like this? Do you remember seeing that picture? Or something like that? Yeah, some nodding heads, those of us who had those stories read to us. Miranda, thanks for reading that story. Cool story. Cool story about feathers and be you. You be you. So the old generation saw grapes that size, and I don't know how you eat a grape like that. Or how do you get a grape cluster like that home from Coles even? It's like, Jesse, come here. And it's like on the shoulders coming out of the boot. And then it's like, JJ, cut that up. We'll just have one for tea. And so she's like carving a wedge out of it. And how do you eat a grape like that? But see, the older generation got to the edge of the Jordan River and discovered grapes this size and went, who eats grapes like this? And fear and anxiety sets in. What's anxiety? It's fear about the future. Depression, trauma about the past. Depression and anxiety try and get us because they try and take us out of this present moment, this one right here, you and I right here, this moment. And the old generation allowed fear and anxiety to rule the decision-making process. And I get that. It's easy to judge. It's easy to judge looking back at it. It's harder when you're in it looking forward at it, right? It's a lot harder. So the old generation suffered from fear and anxiety, and I get that. But God has made it pretty comfortable for me in the desert, they thought. It's pretty good. The manna falls from heaven. That's pretty convenient. On Friday, double the manna comes down. That's pretty cool. No baking and cooking on Saturdays. And the pillar of cloud, it keeps us nice and cool during the day. Maybe the desert's okay. The other side's kind of an enigma. We're not sure, God, so we're not crossing. But there were consequences for this. So they went and walked in the wilderness for 40 years. So the big idea, do you think, and this is pretty harsh, but do you think maybe God sometimes waits until those who don't believe it can be done are out of the way so that a new generation can be born? Look, that's a harsh question, isn't it? And I stand here 48. So I'm like, am I becoming an issue for some other people in the world of faith? Am I in the way? It's an honest question as an older man. In what way am I now the voice of fear and anxiety? And the young generation are like, Pastor Leighton, what an old guy. Why do you think that way? I don't know. As chaplains, we see it all the time. It's actually one of the difficult things about education, and I think about for us too as a campus church, is that generations come through here. And we walk together, we work together, we mentor young people for 12 years, 13 if they did pre-kindy, and then we say goodbye. And many of them go from here to their life, and many of their lives are not lived here. Are you with me? There's like this passing of generations that's happening before us. It's painful to me. I've been here long enough to experience it now a few times, 10 years. And to say goodbye to people you've invested love and energy and affection and time and money and passion, and then you never see them again. But sometimes maybe it's the people who say, let's go, God's got this, let's cross that river. Let's go. Maybe it has nothing to do with age at all. Maybe it's mindset and faith disposition, the faith attitude. The problem is some who say, it's comfy here, I don't want to cross, and others who say, we could, let's go. The crossed over is where God wants us to be. Sometimes it does appear rough over there. And I have wondered, when will I reach that point? When will I know, Leighton, you're one of those people saying, let's not cross too hard? Maybe dead. Not physically, but spiritually, or in my faith story. Just a little bit. Too long in the wilderness, dead. And listen, I think we're all vulnerable to this. Let me tell you some stories. 10 years ago, 2 sanitarium employees, along with Elliot Creever, our high school chaplain, at that time he was chaplain to sanitarium, they came to me and they said, Leighton, would you consider something called Keep Girls Safe? Would you consider a fundraiser where every $250 raised releases a young girl from sexual slavery in Thailand? Just $250. It gets us oversight and administration, it gets them into a school, it gets them a whole year out of that world, and that kicks them down the slide, down the ramp to liberation. Would you consider it? And I was like, oh, this is cool, this is another cause, what a great cause. But I was like, I don't think we're going to raise that much money, to be honest. This was in my first year here at school. I didn't realize actually what God could do in this community. So they said, let's raise $2,500. Let's release 10 girls. Let's do that. A few months later, our student leaders and our staff raised $11,000 for Keep Girls Safe. And I was just rebuked, wasn't I? Because I was like, oh, okay. Because they just kind of went ahead and crossed over. They were just like, let's go, let's do it. And our student leaders at the time picked it up and they ran with it. And then our school backed it. I had an amazing phone call from TK and Karen who said, let's get behind this. Let's go. And we released, you do the maths. What is it? I can't do math. 11,000 divided by 250. A lot. Steve, have you got a number? 11,000 divided by 250. Thanks, Steve. And others who already said 44. Was it Ali? Yep. Ali, good job. Ali can math. So they crossed over and our kids joined them. Last year at the Haven, do you remember when these guys got up? Because Jack said, I've got $400 notes. Remember this moment last year? It was around February last year. And Jack, our pastor, said, what could God do with this? Do you remember? And I was like, probably not much. It's like such a Leighton response. Like just a little bit pessimistic. Because we're usually right, pessimists. Or, I've said this to you before, we're usually right or we're pleasantly surprised. So pessimism's great, I can recommend it. So what did God do with $400? Do you remember? I said, Jack, it's not going to be much. And Jack said, you watch God. And he was right. 2 months later, those 4 had partnered up with ADRA and they delivered Kindness Carnival. And that event, that night, raised over $10,000 for ADRA and the floods that swept through in May last year. Oh, I guess who was humbled? Jack was. Nah, it was me. It was me. Because these 4 just did an incredible thing. They just crossed over. And what's more, I don't know if you guys were at the event, but those of us who were there, we were like, what? Because our school community said yes to that. And they just showed up. And it was like over 300 people came to this thing to just go, yeah, let's do something meaningful that matters. Let's cross over. I was thinking about it last night, the pizza line. Do you remember the pizza line? Oh, I was like, if only we had maybe another 10 Gosney ovens sitting there, you guys could have, it was a long night to wait for the pizza. It was good pizza, though. One of the best Connect events we've seen. As you know, as a church, we are trying to follow Jesus, and we want to connect, grow, connect to each other and to God, grow in the things of God, commit to Jesus as Lord, and then go tell the world about it. That's what we're doing here at Haven Campus Church. And that was one of the most powerful nights we've seen, Connect event. So third story, last year, over 100 year 10, 11 students came to us and said, we want to come on Stormco. And I looked at the situation and I was like, how are we going to facilitate 100 students? And I came to our staff team and I was like, how are we going to do this? Our usual staff team. As usual, it probably can't be done. Let's figure out how to not, being super vulnerable today with my pessimism. But a week later, less than a week later, we had 24 church and school volunteers saying, I'll go, I'll help you run Stormco. And we went, and we facilitated, and God did incredible damage in Burke, Corindi, Brewarrina, like he did this year. It's like they said, are we ready? No. Should we do it anyway? Okay. Have you thought about everything late? That's okay, nah, who cares? And we'll figure it out. Let's just cross on over. So let's get back to the Bible. Tell the priests who carry the Ark of the Covenant, when you reach the edge of the Jordan's waters, you go and stand in the river. So I wanted to show you this verse because verse 8, it says, you're going to go first this time. Back in the Moses story, it was God's going to do something cool, and then you get to walk on dry land. But here, in the second generation, God asked them to have even more faith. He's like, get in the water first. So Bible says, as soon as the priests who carry the ark of the Lord of all the earth, set foot in the Jordan, its water flowing downstream will be cut off and it will stand up in a heap. So he told them what would happen. You get in the water first, and then I'll do the miracle again. But see how he changed it? Subtle, isn't it? So do you think this young generation was super confident, or did they also think, okay, God, with the old generation, you parted the sea, but you're asking us to get in the turbulent flood waters of the Jordan River. Are you sure, God? God, when it's safe, then we cross. When life is better for us, then we'll take the risk. God, I'm not sure if I'm going first here. For a church community, maybe it's something like this. When our attendance is 200, then we'll think about multiplying. Okay, so when it's 300, then we'll think about multiplication as a church community. When our car park's full, but we've still got Erina Fair. When Erina Fair's car park is full, then we'll start thinking about multiplication. But the rules change from here on in. And as you keep reading, God says, you first. Your faith will be rewarded, you first. But if you sit on the bank of the River Jordan, you won't see what I could do. Sure, I'll take care of you. The manna will fall from the sky. You'll get the light at night, but you will never see what crossing a river looks like, ever. So can we get pastoral here for a minute? I just want to step on your toes a little bit. I want to step on my toes a little bit. We try and make this deal with God and we say, okay, God, You take care of my problems, and then I'll take care of yours. We pray about how great God is, and we get through the prayer pretty quickly. He's like, God, you're great, you're awesome, Jesus, you're cool, it's great. But fix this relationship for me, and then I'll trust you. God, the situation I'm dealing with that person, that relationship challenge we're having, if you can just fix that, then I'll be the bigger person and work on fixing it myself. So God, here's my list. Can you fix these things? And then we'll talk about it. Jesus, you first. Fix my child, and then I'll be a great parent. I was going to say a child's name, but I'm going to refrain from... God, fix the attitude of... probably mine, let's be honest. God, you first. You make me... God, if you make me financially, if you give me capacity with finances, then you will see how generous I am, Jesus. I would even tithe if I could afford to. God, you first. When you open up the storehouses of heaven, you just wait and see, Jesus. I will be so generous. It hurts to hear it, doesn't it? It hurts for me to say it because I hear it. I hear it. You stop the water. But obviously, Jesus, can't you see that I'm busy serving you? So give me some more time, then I'll give you more time. Wow, this sermon took a turn, didn't it? So, circuit breaker, let's get back to the Bible and have a look. We're in verse 5, Joshua 1 now, if you're following in your Bible. No one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous. Be strong and very courageous. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. It's like I can hear God saying to me, Leigh, what's wrong? Can't you see that I could raise thousands of dollars to liberate children from slavery? Leigh, can't you see that I could take 4 church members and transform a courtyard and we could bless the people who were flooded? Leigh, can't you see that if people want to say yes to getting to know me and serving out west, I could figure it out for staffing, Leigh? Of course I can do it. So I find myself saying, do I want to sit here on the banks of the Jordan the rest of my life, or do I want to cross on over to see what Jesus could do? You know, really trust him. Do you want to know what my personal River Jordan is? Like the bank that I sit on? I'm going to tell you, it's only fair, because I know you're sitting there thinking about yours. Maybe what your area of trusting God to invite you to cross over is. So it's only fair. I got to be honest, I reckon it's our church's missional multiplication thinking, our thinking about multiplication, multiplying this community to grow and become multiple communities. And again, because that's what's happened throughout church history, see? Churches have gone through the pain of multiplication for the joy of growth. It's literally like birth. The mothers in the room, it's like your birthday when you met your child. Painful, beautiful, right? And I think if I'm honest, I cling to it so tightly as one of your leaders. I'm like, I really want us to be able to multiply one day, because I watch this room swell and fill, and then I watch us not really do anything with that. We do a lot with that. Don't get me wrong. We have incredible events. We have incredible growth opportunity. We do. We challenge each other to follow Jesus. We have great discussions around the Bible. We have incredible meals. We have haystacks and we have incredible things that we do. But we don't tend to go to that step of go ye therefore into all the world and make disciples of all ethne, Jesus said, of all relational streams. Plant church, Jesus said. Go. Make communities. So if I'm honest, that's one of the things where I'm sitting on this side of the banks of the River Jordan going, how could we do it? Josh and I have been wrestling with it because Jack and I did too. And then Jack had to go and follow Jesus, which is awesome. I'm excited. But, so we're kind of starting again, talking again. And to acknowledge, there's many of us in the room in our church you're new to the journey of this church. So in many ways, you're being oriented to this church and what this church is for and who we are. So I get it. But sometimes I wonder if I just want security, control, and acceptance too much. What do I mean? Well, I crave security, control, and acceptance of others. I do. Security, the state of being free from danger, fear, or harm. So church planting is hard and it's painful. So it can feel insecure. Control, let's talk about that one. Authority and agency and autonomy to lead and direct. Control, letting go, opening our hands as a church and going, okay, Jesus, how could you do it? And relinquishing control. That's hard. I find that really hard. I'm wrestling with it. I'm like, let's plant a church. And the leadership are often like, Leight, calm your farm. Calm your farm, Leight. Let's establish community. Let's Beck's laughing because she's like, yeah, I get it. And then acceptance, the favorable reception given to me by others. Because we don't all know each other's heart. And so you can't know. Actions and words often don't reveal all of the picture of the heart of the follower of Jesus. So were we to multiply, would we understand? Could we hold that? Could we accept each other and our different views? And some might go and some might not. And all of that, could we do it? So I tend to just sit and stare across the banks of the River Jordan and not take any steps. That's one of my personal River Jordan things. Maybe crossing over is going to require me to just surrender and trust. Trust God. Trust Jesus, He is the Exodus experience. He is the one who delivered us from the taskmaster of sin and slavery to death. He's the one who passed through the waters. He's the one who made a way. He's the one who calls us to trust Him, the Jesus of the resurrection power. He's the one who calls us. All of us have a River Jordan that we're sitting on the edge of. And just to cartoonify it a little bit, there it is. Maybe it's more like this one though, let's be honest. It's like a job, a relationship. Maybe it's a situation. Could be at church, may not be. Might be at home. Might be where you play, a club you're a part of. Could be when you go to Christmas with the family. That could be a really tough family experience. Maybe it doesn't even feel like family. It's just one of those Jordan River situations for you. I don't know what it is for you. But I feel like I want to say to you what God, I think, is saying to me as I read Joshua 1. It's like, yes, it's going to be scary, but you can and you could cross over with me. Trust me. And you will see what I can do. And so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you an invitation now. Worship band, you can come up. I want to give you an invitation. I want to read a set of Bible verses to you. But I also want to invite you, if you want to, this is opt-in invitation. Nobody has to do this, but I want to invite you to sit up nice and straight, shut your eyes if you want to, and I'm going to take you to your River Jordan. So if you want to be a part of that, let's do that now. Sit up nice and straight, a couple of deep breaths, shut your eyes, and let me ask you a few questions. What is the life God is calling you into, but you're sitting on the edge of your River Jordan and you're looking out over those scary waters? What is the incredibly scary thing that you are looking at right now that looks maybe how the Jordan River appeared to those second generation Israelites? What's the situation that's impossible? It induces fear in you. You feel that fear as you look at it right now. It seems insurmountable. It's impossible. And you know what it is. And I know what mine is. And with this thought just held in your mind, I want you to meditate on the words of Jesus spoken to Joshua. On page 179 of that Bible in your hand, or if you need it, on the screen, where Jesus said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Just let that sink in. I will never leave you nor forsake you. So be strong and courageous, Jesus said to Joshua. And then a question from Jesus. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Don't be discouraged today. Looking across your River Jordan, don't be terrified. Actually, let's flip that. Be terrified. And be strong and courageous anyway, because the Lord your God is with you. And why don't we let these words inspire us to trust Jesus today and to cross over.